It's a Monday, folks, and this is what happens on Monday. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of topics, current events, and whatnot, and the perspective and the effects it has on a Christian like myself. I'm a non denominational Protestant, been one all my life, 39 years, closing in on 40. But hopefully, you can get some sort of insight and perspective for what I have to offer from my experience and from what I do on this show. So, if you are somebody who is interested in becoming a Christian, uh, looking to learn more about Christianity, maybe start a relationship with Christ, maybe you're just curious as to what there is beyond just this existence on this earth, welcome to the show. If you're one of those folks, tune in. Hopefully, I can offer some sort of insight, some sort of perspective for you that you can latch onto, and maybe it launches you into a relationship with God, and that would be great. That would be great for you. Be great for me and everybody else involved. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics, conversations, and being part of the conversation, glad to have you here. We run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. Very small group of folks tuning in day in, day out, being part of the chat. Whether you are looking at Christianity or if you're just looking for conversation, you're already a Christian, I advise you and encourage you to be part of the chat. We'd love to hear from you, love to get your insights and everything. Love to hear what we are discussing, how it affects you. If you have any perspectives that might further the discussion, the chat is great. I think you'll find a lot of good things from it. But whether you're just tuning in and listening, catch it on the replay, or you are actively in the chat, just glad to have you here. Good morning. It's Monday. Like I said, started off the stream. Didn't even have my headset on. Is what it is. Nico's first, Blaine second, and Alias coming in third. Hello from the great white north. No power for 6 days. Generator going to watch and converse with the flawed man and community. Alias, it's great to have you here. Hopefully you get your power back soon, because no power does suck. Luckily we don't lose power often here, and when we do, it's usually pretty temporary. But we're supposed to be getting hit with an Arctic blast this week at some point, so we'll see how that affects things, and how that affects me streaming at all. But here we are. Blaine, thank you for the invitation to your show on Friday night. I had a good time. I was just buzzing a little bit and a little tired, but I still got a great experience out of it, like I usually do. And luckily, I had a little bit more to talk about because I had watched some shows recently. And what I watched this weekend and finished up today was what is it? Crap. What was the one lofty? Arcane, the League of Legends show. Watched Arcane, enjoyed it for the most part. It was difficult to get past the super heavy dose of girl power in that story, but even with that going on, still, just the animation was terrific. It reminded me a lot of the animation in the cutscenes for BattleTech, only more fluid, more motion. But I just, the animation's great. Animation in Arcane is great. It's and like I said, the story's pretty good too. But you could tell lots of influence on making sure Moammons and whatnot are portrayed often and in every single unplausible position you can imagine. Because that's the world we live in now. Then I try to watch the Dragon Age show. Opens up with a. Anyway, I stopped watching it. I'm trying looking for new shows to watch. So, see what I land on. But yeah. Alias, pray for the linemen working the lines and people without heat. It's a tad chilly, 14 degrees and dropping. Hoo. Yeah. You're halfway between freezing and zero. So yeah, let's keep those folks in our prayers, our thoughts, because it's not a good time. And look, being a lineman's dangerous. Guys on the snowplow, tow truck guys, all the folks out there, EMS and whatnot, they're out there doing their thing. The things that we intend them to do to kind of look out for us in these times when nature shows us exactly how powerful it is. So. Yeah. Well, Blaine, arcane source material designed for people to stare at their avatars. I know this. But again, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I'll probably watch it again at some point. Probably watching it again. So we'll see. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. What did I do? Oh, Saturday was mostly concerned with the funeral for my family member. It was sad, but also good. And I got to see a lot of family, and we don't normally get together as much anymore. But I spoke at the service, and I had a lot of people come up and told me that I did the person justice and helped other people to understand, this person just a little bit more. Because one of the things I did that a lot of folks didn't, in this case, is listen to them. And while I couldn't fix some of the situation for them, what I did was offer what advice I could, what help I could, and a lot of prayer. So hopefully they are up with our Father and at peace, and knowing that a lot of people that he probably didn't understand or wouldn't believe cared greatly for him. And I think that's important. It's important for us to know that. So, but we had a service afterwards. I got to talk to my brother for a little bit. Talked to some of my cousins a bit, and it's always good to see them. We grew up really close. All of us were pretty close. Didn't get to see each other as much as we wanted to, but we all got together over at my grandmother's place at the river. And that's where we spent so many times at Christmas, so many times during summertime, Thanksgiving. It was always great. Always great. And we had a we had a ton of memories. And when we talk about memories as a kid, and you have one place where everybody loved to go, because there was swimming, there was fishing, we tubed. I got thrown out of the tube a lot because I loved to tube. Favorite thing in the world to do in the water. And jet ski. And so we had lots of stories. A small retirement, not even a subdivision, just cluster of houses down at Richmond Beach and Tappahannock. And we were all reminiscing about it. And I thought to myself, if my grandmother, who just passed away last year, if my grandmother knew how important the memories that we made down there were, would she still have sold the house and moved to Richmond? And the answer is, and I mean, I was looking at my mom when I asked that, and the answer was a resounding yes from both of us at the exact same time. She would have sold it. She didn't care. She did not care. She wanted to enjoy things the way she wanted to enjoy it, and that generally did not involve concerning herself with the thoughts or considerations of anybody else. So, unfortunately, that time, like all things, is fleeting. So, my advice out of this is cherish the times you got with the blessings that you have. You don't know how long they'll be around, or the people will be around either. So, and pray for parents that have to bury their kids, because it is the most awful thing. It's the most awful thing to watch. All right. Other than that, Sunday, yeah, Sunday was good. Went to church. Had some family over after that on my wife's side, so I had some in-law family time at the house yesterday. That was good, and that kind of wraps up the weekend. Oh, watching some TV, and then sent my kids over to my parents' house for an overnight stay. Um, so yeah, hopefully you guys had a good time. Alias, aside from losing power, and he says, Nico, West Coast sounds good about now. No, no, no. Don't, no. West Coast doesn't sound good. West Coast doesn't sound good. There are plenty of places that are warm in the wintertime that don't involve California or Washington or Oregon. Just travel south. Heck, aliens, you go to South Carolina. Come to come to Richmond. I mean, we get like um we get 2 inches and it's an absolute panic down here. Like occasionally we'll get, half a foot of snow. I love snow. And but it's an absolute nightmare watching other people try to even when the snow comes. But other than that, it's much milder than probably what you're used to. Kentucky. You're right, my brain. Blaine said, West Coast, best coast. Christmas in the Northwest is a gift God wrapped in green. It is pretty out there. My best friend in the Army was from Medford, Oregon. And he talked about is how pretty it is. He had pictures of his hometown, and the area around his hometown that he liked to go. He was very much an outdoorsy person, not the hipster. I got to go hiking every weekend. No, just out in the wilderness when he could, and there's no getting past it. It's beautiful out there, populated with numbskulls. Oh, Blaine, I did learn one of my cousins will be moving out to Seattle soon. His girlfriend got a job out there. He works in. I think he's a dietitian. I think he's a registered dietitian. I could be wrong, but I think he is. And so he can work pretty much anywhere. But yeah, so he's going to be out there, and not anywhere close to me. So hopefully I'll see him from time to time when he does come back to town. But be be out and with you dealing with the insanity that is Seattle. All right, guys. It's Monday, and we are going to get into things. So, speaking of parents who have to bury their kids, that is what we covered last Thursday. Where is my? There it is. Actual Seattle or surrounding area, people not from here will look at Tacoma and say, "I'm going to Seattle." No, her job is in Seattle. Now he wants to live in the suburb area. He doesn't want to live in the city proper. He wants to get some space to live. As opposed to, he said, I don't want to rent an apartment. I don't want to rent a condo. I've got a dog. I want him to have a yard to run around in. So that's what they're going to be looking at. So I don't know how that works, but I don't know if Tacoma is part of the suburban area of Seattle, but I think the job is actually in Seattle, and there will be a commute into Seattle because he doesn't want to live in Seattle. Look, don't live in the city ever. Don't ever live in cities. Live in the suburbs. Live out in the country. If you can, tell them to try living further north. Anything Linwoodish. Yeah, okay. I'll pass along. I don't know where her office is going to be or any of that stuff, or where he's going to ultimately, because obviously he'll probably be working in some sort of medical complex, whether it be a doctor's office, hospital, or some sort of whatever. At least Tacoma is an okay truck. Dude, they are good looking for their class. I don't think there's a pickup truck out there that's better looking. My brother had one that he just got rid of. The only reason he got rid of it is because we had too many kids for that truck. He had to get something bigger. I'll pass that along. Blaine. We friends now. Me and Blaine, we friends now. All right, anyway, so where I left off, David's at war with his one of his sons. One of his sons tries to usurp power. Ends up chasing David out of Jerusalem because David knows better than staying there. But David prepares, leaves some of his people behind in order to kind of sabotage Absalom's plans. Absalom is his son. That doesn't keep Absalom from fulfilling what God said was going to happen to David as a result of his little indiscretions with Bathsheba. But what David does to prepare and what faith David puts in the Lord pays off for him. Because Absalom is defeated, God is with David. I think that was obviously his plan from the very beginning. But David did not want his son killed. And Absalom found himself in a position where he was helpless. His beautiful hair that everybody talked about, got caught in a tree. He was tangled up in it. And our old friend Joab, the general, who is so involved with everything that goes wrong, as our friend Nernath is keen to point out even from the beginning. Do what you need to do, Nico. That's cool. Just glad you're here. Um, he sees him and tells one of his men, "Take care of this, but take care of this guy." That guy goes, "No, I heard what the king said. I'm not doing this because if I do it and I get in trouble, it comes back on me. You're not going to help me out at all. And if there's anything you can do to help me out, but you wouldn't lift a finger to help me." And so Joab goes, "Fine, I'll do it myself," and runs him through. Runs him through. So Absalom is dead, and David is mourning. And that's what we're going to pick up in chapter 19. John Smoth. I recently bought a fixer-upper out in the country, and I'm almost ready to start moving my stuff out there so we can sell the place in the city. I can't wait. What my advice is, and maybe you're already there, right? Maybe your headspace is already there. Assimilate into the country mentality. Assimilate into country mentality. It's better, I think. And I'm biased because I grew up in the country. And to Blaine's credit, today's country is tomorrow's city. Sproul does that. That's the county I live in has changed amazingly so in the way I perceive it in the last 35 years that I've lived here. It was very small around the time I was born, and now it is huge. And there's so much traffic. There's so much just city culture being put in here. It's changing the identity of the county, and not for the better. Not for the better. Not much I can do for it. Not much I can do for it. I could sell everything and go and move away. Maybe I will one day. Who knows? We'll see. I've got a nice 3 acres that I'm sitting on, and I'm close to everything. I just kind of have that nice little location. I'm close to a main road. I've got plenty of woods, and I'm good. Oh, John's got 80 acres. Yeah, I don't think the city's going to encroach on too much on that, Blaine, unless they eminent domain all of that. But good for you, John. I mean, and not in a condescending way. That's awesome. 80 acres is a lot of land. Find something to do with it. And you don't need to do a whole, I mean, depending on what you want to do. But if you want to just look, I grew up on 16 acres. And we grew our own crops. We had plenty of forest to hunt in. And I had a yard to play with. I had a yard to play football in if I wanted to. I mean, 16 acres is a lot, and you're talking about 5 times that. Oh, and we had goats, and we had chickens. We also, we had some livestock. Dude, find something to do on that. That is a nasty amount. That's a nasty amount of acreage. I love it. All right. Sounds like everybody's doing pretty well, though. Nico, 80, that's more valuable than most assets. Half of that is probably more valuable than than houses. Shoot. 10 acres might be valuable than more houses, depending on where the location is. All right. Let's get into it. New International Version, 2 Samuel chapter 19. As we said, we're going to be picking up where David is mourning over the loss of his son. Joab was told, "The king is weeping and mourning for Absalom." And for the whole army, the victory that day was turned into mourning, because on that day the troops heard it and said, "The king is grieving for his son." The men stole into the city that day, as men steal in who are ashamed when they flee from battle. The king covered his face and cried aloud, "Oh, my son, Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." Then Joab went into the house to the king and said, "Today you have humiliated all your men who have just saved your life and the lives of your sons and daughters and the lives of your wives and concubines. You love those who hate you and hate those who love you. You have made it clear today that the commanders and their men mean nothing to you. I see that you would be pleased if Absalom were alive today and all of us were dead. Now go out and encourage your men. I swear by the Lord that if you don't go out, not a man will be left with you by nightfall. This will be worse for you than all the calamities that have come on you from your youth till now." Joab, you've been part of them some of them calamities. FYI. So the king got up and took his seat in the gateway. When the men were told the king is sitting in the gateway, they all came before him. Meanwhile, the Israelites had fled to their homes. David returns to Jerusalem. Throughout the tribes of Israel, all the people were arguing among themselves, saying, "The king delivered us from the hand of our enemies. He is the one who rescued us from the hand of the Philistines. But now he has fled the country and escaped from Absalom. And Absalom, who we anointed to rule over us, has died in battle." They united. Has died in battle. So why do you say nothing about bringing the king back? King David sent this message to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. "Ask the elders of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king back to his palace, since what is being said throughout Israel has reached the king at his quarters? You are my relatives, my own flesh and blood. So why should you be the last to bring back the king? And say to Amasa, are you not my own flesh and blood? May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if you are not the commander of my army, for life in place of Joab." King's not happy with Joab. He shouldn't be. Joab should have been out of the picture for a while. I don't like Joab. Blaine said, "Depends. There's 221 acres in Colorado for 185,000 right now. 221 acres in my county. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars." John said, "I got my wife a bunch of homesteading books and she's planning her butt off. She's got plans for goats, a couple llamas. Llamas are expensive. Llamas and alpacas are expensive, just FYI. Chickens are easy. Here's the thing about chickens. Just be ready to lose them. Chickens die. Chickens get eaten. Chickens get stolen by animals. But chickens are cheap. Chickens are cheap. Just do what you can. I would say, especially if you keep them close to you, like if you're going to be keeping them in the yard area, invest in these things. They call them chicken tractors. Just look them up. It's good. It's great for your yard. They aerate the yard. And you can just move the thing around. It's great. It's great. If you free range them, just like I said, if you got especially free range chickens, be ready to lose some, because everybody eats chickens. Weasels eat chickens. Raccoons eat chickens. Skunks eat chickens. Foxes, hawks, everybody. You probably, depending on where you're at, coyotes, wolves, everybody eats chickens. They're delicious. They're delicious. Maybe a mini Jersey cow. It's mostly wooded, so I'm just stoked for hunting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Get them Bambi burgers. But chickens are fun. Chickens are fun to raise. Chicken's dumb except for one. Every coop has that one ass that runs the farm. My buddy had one that killed a raccoon. Like, are you talking like an ass of a chicken, or are you talking like a donkey? Because Alias, our chickens eat chicken. I have fed KFC to chickens before. I felt wrong afterwards. Thought it was interesting. They ate it. They ate it right up. um, but yeah, they are dumb. Chickens are dumb. Goats are dumb. But the chicken specifically, a rooster to kill the raccoon. Yeah. Chickens are dumb, but they're fun. Rooster to kill the raccoon. Yeah. We've had a couple of those. I had a beautiful Rhode Island Red growing up, and you did not want to mess with that thing. Did not want to mess with that thing. All right. So David's talking about here. He's talking to the priests. This is all going on. They're kind of trying to figure out everything that's going on with the state of Israel, the state of Judah. Things aren't good. There's been a lot of rebellion. There hasn't been a whole lot of stability. So he won over the hearts and men of Judah so that they were all of one mind. They sent word to the king, return you and all your men. Then the king returned and went as far as the Jordan. Now the men of Judah had come to Gilgal to go out and meet the king and bring him across the Jordan. Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjamite, from Bahurim, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 Benjamites, along with Ziba, the steward of Saul's household. Not the steward, right? Who had given all of Mephibosheth, whatever his stuff is, because he went and hung out with Absalom, hoping to get more than what he had, which was stupid. The steward of Saul's household and his 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed to the Jordan where the king was. They crossed at the ford to take the king's household over and do whatever he wished. When Shimei, son of Gera, crossed the Jordan, he fell prostrate before the king, hopefully after he got out, and said to him, "May my lord not hold me guilty. Do not remember how your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. May the king put it out of his mind. For I, your servant, know that I have sinned, but today I come here as the first from the tribes of Joseph to come down and meet my lord the king." What did Shimei do? Hang on, let's go back. Let's go back to Shimei versus David. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Shimei, he was cursing him. He is part of a man from the same clan as Saul's family came out from there. His name was Shimei, son of Gera. He cursed him as he came out. He pelted David and all the king's officials with stones. So yeah, he did something bad, but he is now humbling himself before the king, telling him that he was wrong and asking to be spared, and please forgive him. How much he means about this, we don't know. He could go either way at this point. Where is it? Oh, wait. I need to get to the right page. Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said, "Shouldn't Shimei be put to death for this? He cursed the Lord's anointed." David replied, "What does this have to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? What right do you have to interfere? Should anyone be put to death in Israel today? Don't I know that today I am king over Israel?" So the king said to Shimei, "You shall not die." And the king promised him on oath. All right. So Shimei gets a pass. Now, David might be just tired of everything at this point, tired of the death, tired of all the loss. He doesn't want to see people. He understands Saul's household is angry with him, but that's not the last guy from Saul's household he's going to have to deal with, because Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, also went down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet or trimmed his mustache or washed his clothes from the day the king left until the day he returned safely. Okay. That's weird. When he came from Jerusalem, the king asked him, "Why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth?" He said, "My lord the king, since I am your servant and lame," I said, "I will have my donkey saddled, and I will ride on it so I can go with the king. But Ziba, my servant, betrayed me, and he has slandered your servant to my lord the king." Uh-oh. "And he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. My lord the king is like an angel of God, so do whatever you wish. All my grandfather's descendants deserve nothing but death from my lord the king. But you gave your servant a place among those who eat at your table. So what right do I have to make any more appeals to the king?" The king said to him, "Why say more? I order you and Ziba to divide the land." Mephibosheth said to the king, "Let him take everything, now that my lord the king has returned home safely." Weird. This whole interaction is weird. All right, so we have Mephibosheth. He's the son of Jonathan, right? Jonathan was David's best friend, Saul's grandson, or Jonathan was Saul's son. So Mephibosheth is Saul's grandson. So Jonathan is killed in the same battle that Saul is killed in. And Mephibosheth is lame. His both of his feet are messed up. And David at some point decides, I need to give back to Saul's household. They don't deserve to be living in obscurity and living in poverty. So he finds Mephibosheth and restores his stuff back to him. So, and Ziba was there at the time. So, one of the other things he did, Mephibosheth was always welcome and always have eating with the king at his table. And he always had a place there. So when all this stuff with Absalom breaks loose, David flees and he runs into Ziba, and Ziba's got gear, right? Ready to go. And sets him up, gear and supplies and whatever, ready for David on his way out. Good man. And so David asked Ziba, he goes, "Where's your master?" Which is Mephibosheth. And Ziba says, "Oh no, he stayed in Jerusalem, trying to get a little piece of the action when Absalom returns." And so David, upon hearing that, said, "Okay, well, because of that, you get everything he owned." So now he comes back, and Mephibosheth shows up and says that Ziba was making all of that up, and he looks haggard. Apparently, he hadn't been taking care of himself since he left, and he's like, "I just wanted to see that you're safe and let you know that I didn't do the things that I've been told." And David said, "Okay, all right. Here's what happened. You two split your stuff. He'll get half of your things, and you can keep half of your things." And Mephibosheth says, "Well, I'm not interested." He's probably living with the king, so it doesn't matter. He's probably living in the palace of David, so it might not matter that much to him. And he doesn't want to. And who knows who's telling the truth or not? But I mean, both men really have their own account. Somebody might be lying, or maybe some assumptions were made. I don't know, but either way, that's how it ends. Barzillai, the Gileadite, also came down from Rogelim to cross the Jordan with the king and to send him on his way from there. Now Barzillai was very old, 80 years of age. He had provided for the king during a stay in Mahanaim, for he was a very wealthy man. The king said to Barzillai, "Cross over with me and stay with me in Jerusalem, and I will provide for you." But Barzillai answered the king, "How many more years will I live that I should go up to Jerusalem with the king? I'm now 80 years old. Can I tell the difference between what is enjoyable and what is not? Can your servant taste what he eats and drinks? Can I still hear the voices of male and female singers? Why should your servant be an added burden to my lord the king? Your servant will cross over the Jordan with the king for a short distance. But why should the king reward me in this way? Let your servant return, that I may die in my own hometown near the tomb of my father and mother. But here is your servant Kinham. Let him cross over with you, with my lord the king. Do for him whatever you wish. Okay. The king said, Kimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him whatever you wish, and anything you desire from me, I will do for you. So basically, hey, look, you did good to me. I'll take this guy on as my ward, and I will anything you need, just let me know. The king owes you. So all the people crossed the Jordan, and then the king crossed over, the king kissed Barzillai and bid him farewell, and Barzillai returned to his home. When the king crossed over to Gilgal, Kimham crossed with him. All the troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel had taken the king over. So all the men of Israel were coming to the king and saying to him, why did our brothers, these men of Judah, steal the king away and bring him and his household across the Jordan together with all of his men? And all the men of Judah asked the men of Israel, we did this because the king is closely related to us. Why are you angry about it? Have we eaten any of the king's provisions? Have we taken anything for ourselves? Uh-oh. A little bit of rivalry going on. And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, we have 10 shares in the king, so we have a greater claim on David than you have. Why then do you treat us with contempt? Weren't we the first to speak of bringing back our king? But the men of Judah pressed their claims even more forcefully than the men of Israel. I'm sure that means something culturally. I'm not figuring it out right now. No, everything's going to be calm now, right? We've settled all this. We had the issue with Saul. We had the issue with Ish. We had the issue with Absalom. No more issues, right? Chapter 20, Sheba rebels against David. We're not even home yet. Now a troublemaker named Sheba, son of Bikri, troublemaker named Sheba, son of Bikri, a Benjamite, happened to be there. He sounded a trumpet and shouted, we have no share in David, no part in Jesse's son. Every man to his tent, Israel. So all the men of Israel deserted David to follow Sheba, son of Bikri. But the men of Judah stayed by their king all the way from the Jordan to Jerusalem. When David returned to his palace in Jerusalem, he took the 10 concubines he had left to take care of the place and put them in a house under guard. He provided for them, but had no sexual relations with them. They were kept in confinement until the day of their death, living as widows. I think the confinement is not necessarily meant as a punishment, but more for as protection. Maybe like a convent. Then the king said to Amasa, summon the men of Judah to come with me within 3 days, and be here yourself. But when Amasa went to summon Judah, he took longer than the time the king had set for him. David said to Abishai, now Sheba, son of Bikri, will do us more harm than Absalom did. Take your master's men and pursue him, where he will find fortified cities and escape from us. So Joab's men, because they're Abishai's now, or they're Amasa's now. So Joab's men and the Kerethites and the Pelethites and all the mighty warriors went out under the command of Abishai. They marched out from Jerusalem to pursue Sheba, son of Bikri. What happened to Joab? Sounds like he got forced retired. While they were at the great rock at Gibeon, Amasa came to meet them. Where is Joab? Joab was wearing his military tunic, and strapped over it at his waist was a belt with a dagger in its sheath. As he stepped forward, it dropped out of its sheath. Joab said to Amasa, how are you, my brother? Then Joab took Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. Amasa was not on his guard against the dagger in Joab's hand, and Joab plunged it into his belly and his intestines spilled out on the ground without being stabbed again. Amasa died. Then Joab, his brother Abishai pursued Sheba, son of Bikri. Why did they do this? Why does Joab do this? And he's always killing people. And Abishai's right there with him. One of Joab's men stood beside Amasa and said, whoever favors Joab and whoever is for David, let him follow Joab. Amasa lay wallowing in his blood in the middle of the road, and the men saw that all the troops came to a halt there. When he realized that everyone who came up to Amasa stopped, he dragged him from the road into a field and threw a garment over him. This is awful. After Amasa had been removed from the road, everyone went on with Joab to pursue Sheba, son of Bichri. I think Joab just likes fighting. Joab just likes conflict. Man is bloodthirsty. Man, he has left a trail of bodies behind him. Sheba passed through, and trouble. Sheba passed through all the tribes of Israel to Abel Beth Makkah, and through the entire region of the Bichrites, who gathered together and followed him. All the troops with Joab came and besieged Sheba in the Abel Beth Makkah. They built a siege ramp up to the city, and it stood against the outer fortifications. While they were battering the wall to bring it down, a wise woman called from the city, "Listen, listen, tell Joab to come here so I can speak to him." He went toward her, and she asked, "Are you Joab?" "I am," he answered. She said, "Listen to what your servant has to say." "I'm listening," he said. She continued, "Long ago they used to say, 'Get your answer at Abel,' and that settled it. We are the peaceful and faithful in Israel. You are trying to destroy a city that is a mother in Israel. Why do you want to swallow up the Lord's inheritance?" "Far be it from me," Joab replied. "Far be it from me to swallow up or destroy. That is not the case. A man named Sheba, son of Bichri, from hill country of Ephraim, has lifted up his hand against the king, against David. Hand over this one man, and I will withdraw from the city." The woman said to Joab, "His head will be thrown to you from the wall." Then the woman went to all the people with her wise advice, and they cut off the head of Sheba, son of Bichri, and threw it to Joab. So he sounded the trumpet, and his men dispersed from the city, each returning to his home. And Joab went back to the king of Israel. Right. David's official. I guess this is a revisit. David's officials. Joab was over Israel's entire army. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerethites and the Pelethites. Adoniram was in charge of forced labor, slavery, by the way. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was a recorder. Shiva was secretary. Zadok and Abiathar were priests. And Ira the Jairite, Ira the Jairite was David's priest. And there you go. So, again, lots of stuff happening here. Lots of stuff happening. And people getting killed left and right. I guess Amasa was, he said, he went to summon Judah. It took longer than the time the king had set for him. Is this part of him being disobedient, or does Joab just like killing people? Was Amasa doing it purposefully to sabotage things? Had he joined the other side? I don't know. Doesn't really get into this. It's very interesting to get into. But he got stabbed in the belly, got his intestines spill out, and he was laying wallowing in his blood in the middle of the road, and they dragged him off the road and threw a blanket or something over him. And he died. This is wild. This is so wild. And then so they keep chasing this guy that they were chasing. They besiege the city, and this lady comes out and she's like, "Why are you doing this? Right? This is an important place of Israel." And he's like, "Look, just follow this guy. He's trying to incite a rebellion against David and Israel and Judah. Look, if you just provide me with him, I'll be on my merry way." Joab is the rooster. If you just bring him to me, I'll that'll end everything right now. She said, 1 moment. Moments later, there's a head that flies over the wall. And they left. Bold strategy, Sheba, son of Bichri. Look, David has defeated Philistines, Goliath, right? He outlasted Saul. He was able to get away from Saul. He led campaign after campaign. He beat Absalom with a big army. Sheba, what did you intend to accomplish? Did you think you were going to get anything done here aside from just getting yourself killed? Because that's really all you ended up getting accomplished. Well, you got yourself killed and you got Amasa killed as well. Because if this isn't happening, Amasa doesn't get gutted. I don't know what's going on with Joab, man. He is a hard man to read. And look, the book of Samuel has not been very good at really illustrating if the things he's doing because he thinks they're the best for Israel, if they're the best for his king, if he's just into it, if he's an evil man. Is he doing evil purposefully? Doesn't know. You don't know. So you just gotta roll with it. Just gotta, I guess he killed him. I wonder if this is gonna come out and bite him in the end. But he killed Absalom against David's orders, but Absalom wasn't a good guy at all. Except for that time he killed his brother who raped his sister. So, all right. Well, that'll wrap things up. So, a fair amount of viewers coming in here tonight. We've had some good talk about land, talk about livestock, talking about some chickens. By the way, Blaine's rooster that killed the raccoon, Uncle had to kick like a football to keep it from attacking. I've had roosters like that. You can't turn your back on them because they'll come after you. One, look, very similar, attacked my 6-year-old daughter. Okay, so, and I don't know if I told this story before. So, this was only a few months ago. Yeah. Blaine, you're allowed to do that because you're from Seattle, or you live in Seattle at least. So the pool was shut down at my parents' house. They'd already shut things down with the pool. They've got things going on. And she was playing around at the gate. And I told her, I was like, hey, don't do that. You need to come over here. And I can't remember if she said no, gave me an attitude, or just ignored me. But whatever it was, she got put in timeout. And so I told her to stand next to the tree, this old cedar tree, next to the fence, the pool fence. And so she was sitting there, and me and my dad are sitting there at the fire pit talking, and I hear a flapping. And then I hear my daughter scream. For no reason, that rooster came up and attacked my daughter and scratched her good. She had 3, not deep, but 3 decent-sized scratches that probably were 3 inches long each on her thigh. And another one on the other leg somewhere, maybe on the calf. And they bled a little bit, and she lost her mind over it. That rooster did not survive the weekend. It got deaded. Suicide by messing with my daughter in front of her father and grandfather. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. It's kind of like Sheba, son of Bichri. What'd you think was going to happen? Sheba's big on the mess around and find out chart. But a lot of people have been doing that in Samuel. So Texan Italian, hey, here, just lurking, listening. Look, Texan, you're welcome to do whatever. Just glad you're here, like I said. All right. We will talk more about roosters on another night. But tonight I'm going to shut things down. It's almost 9 o'clock. And it's been great. So, Nico, Blaine, Alias, hope you get your power back soon. Stay warm. Who else? John. And I think that's everybody. Texan Italian. And then K-Man 949, who I don't know, but glad to have you here regardless. Lurkers Unite. Seize the means of lurker fabricate. I don't know. I had a better joke in my head than what I ended up putting out there. I'm going to just keep it to myself next time. John Smoth with his, what he says, cock-a-doodle-doo, my friends. Yes. Yes. With that said, all of you guys, appreciate you tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you back here on another night. Wait, no, not going to stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. Doing some Christmas stuff. But I think Wednesday's fine. I think I'm pretty sure I'll be streaming Wednesday then. Wednesday might be the last night for the week. We'll see. We'll see how things are working. But anyway, in the meantime, everybody, you guys be safe. See you here again another time on Wednesday, hopefully. But you guys have a very good evening, good night, and God bless.